And then they saw me in a bra, and that was it.
What's going on, Pearl Jam nerds? You're listening to Single Podcast Theory. I'm Brad Lyons.
And I'm Brad Blazek.
What's up, bud? Was that a laugh
Hey,
I heard?
man. Yeah.
The second I started talking?
Wait, you paused. I thought you were pausing to wait for me to laugh, and I'm like, I'm not going to laugh. And then right when you started, I was like, it just bubbles up.
Yeah, man. Well, this is just funny. I have to do we have to establish that we're actually ready to start because we get on here and we just start catching up if we want to talk to each other. And so for me, when I'm editing, I want to do the little snap trick so I can see where to cut. And now I've confused myself because there's going to be 2 snap WAV files on there. But
now
I'll figure it out.
Well,
I'm a big boy.
Again.
What?
I can laugh again if that helps.
Oh, you're going to anyway. It's fine. You're doing it now.
The giggle.
You doing all right?
Oh, yeah, man. Fucking flying.
Yeah, just so everyone knows. I mean, we're all about full disclosure here at SPT.
Yeah.
Brad literally just got home from out of town. And we're like what time is it? The episode comes out at midnight. It's 10:35 right now. So we're gonna be busting to get it out at midnight, but we're gonna make it happen.
Thank you for working around my schedule.
Oh, that's all good. Hey, in a weird way, it kind of worked out because I had a friend of mine, songwriter. I recorded her last EP, and she set up this headlining gig at this venue here in town with 2 other really cool bands. Anyway, her drummer bailed on her. This was Saturday night was the gig, but the drummer bailed on her. So she, I couldn't say no. So I showed up with no rehearsal to a gig that didn't start until midnight, which I am not used to doing that anymore. That is a young man's game, and I mean, I might not be old, but I'm too old for that shit. Or on a regular basis, anyway. So I was up until 3. I got home at a decent time. I couldn't fall asleep, though, because after, you're all jazzed up after you play or whatever. So it kind of threw my schedule off. So while I'm very tired, and so are you, I might be more tired if I hadn't had to stay up so late last night. So what did you guys do? You guys went to Nashville, right?
Went to Nashville. There was a
sorry, you guys were being good Samaritans.
Yeah, there was an animal hoarder they found about half an hour from Paris, and these people had over 150 animals, mostly dogs and cats, but I mean they had horses, and chinchillas and some rabbits and ferrets, and I think a goat. I think there was 2 goats, and one of them they found was dead, and there was like a dead zebra.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it's pretty
These
crazy.
People are psychotic.
Yeah, but they said she was a breeder, like she was selling the dogs and cats. But anyway, this animal recovery, animal something like recovery corps. They came in, got all the animals out of there, and took them to a place in Nashville to like take care of them until all the legal stuff goes through.
Man.
And so Amanda, they posted that they needed volunteers. So Amanda went last weekend and just like played with the dogs, cleaned up their cages, and all that kind of stuff. And she was telling us about it when she came home, and she was like, I might go back next weekend. And me and Susan kind of were like, we'll go with you,
Yeah.
So we volunteered and went, and they were with the cats, and I was with some of the puppies. There's about 10 or 12 puppies.
Oh, man.
Like Pyrenees, golden retrievers, and I don't know, there's some more. They had some bulldogs and some Great Danes.
Wow.
But they were like, in a different section. So I was just playing with the Pyrenees all day, cleaning up after them, just that kind of stuff.
Right.
It's cool, They all were pretty. They seemed pretty energetic for what they'd gone through,
Oh, that's good to hear.
So, but yeah, then we went down to Franklin. There was a street fair, and I got tickets from the guitar player in Newfound Glory. They're putting on like I think I was telling you, like a breakfast festival where they're gonna have, like, I guess all the local like restaurants are gonna be serving breakfast food all day at this festival.
That's cool.
And then there's gonna be like 7 or 8 bands, and Newfound Glory's like headlining.
Dude, that sounds. But I could eat breakfast food all day.
I know. Come on, dude. Yeah. But the Chad Gilbert was out there actually like selling tickets, so I went and talked to him for a minute, and
that's cool.
Got my tickets, and we walked around the street fair thing, and then headed back to Nashville and hooked up with our buddy from Metal Up Your Podcast, Clint. And his wife and daughter. So, because my wife hasn't met you or Clint or Ethan, right. So she's all, she's with her. I don't, just she doesn't get out much,
right?
So she was really excited. She can't wait to meet you.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to meet her either. It seems weird that we haven't met yet.
I know. Yeah, but it was just like it was a really good family day for the three of us, man. Because we don't, with Amanda working and going to school now, and the three of us don't have a lot of days like today. It was fucking awesome. So.
Well, and you're doing something good too. It's so awesome that Amanda, took the initiative to go down there and help in the first place, and you guys joined up with her.
She's so passionate about animals, and she feels so bad for them, and it was just like we should go too.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Support her and support these animals, and so. It was cool.
You're a good man, Brad B.
I want to take all the bulldogs home.
Yeah, I bet.
They're so cool looking.
I would have come home with so many puppies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then been kicked out of the house. Well, right on.
They want to bring all the cats home, and I'm like,
no.
Can't do it.
No. I would live in a constant allergic coma of some sort.
Yeah. I am not a cat person.
Yeah, I love animals, but if I'm gonna have a pet, it's not gonna be a cat.
Yeah.
God, we're gonna get so much hate mail.
I know.
It's such a divisive topic amongst people. All right, cool. Let's get into the episode, man. What do you think? Now that we've caught up for everyone's listening enjoyment.
Yeah. Hope everyone
not talked about Pearl Jam at all. So this is episode 40, VH1 Storytellers. We'll be getting into that a little bit later. But first, we're going to start the emails, and we're going to start off with Pearl Jam story time.
Good evening. This is Storytellers. We are here to tell stories.
We just have friends up here that are listening to stories.
Have I got a little story for you?
This is the true story. True story.
All right, you got Mr. Brian Powell, Blazy.
I do. I am a little late to the party. I think you guys are 30-some pods in. However, I am so glad I found you guys. Yeah, we were 30 pods in when he wrote this. Right. I was afraid I love this, dude. I was afraid this podcast would be a couple of D-bags sitting around bragging about their love for Pearl Jam and how they've been to hundreds of shows, how they have every poster, etc. The people you sometimes run into who always have to, quote-unquote, one-up a story that makes you feel like you are not as big a fan as them. Boy, was I wrong. You guys rock. I love this pod. It is all I've listened to on my commute since finding you guys. Life is better with you guys in my ears. I would love to meet up and buy you guys some drinks at a show sometime as a thank you. Well, thank you, Brian. Man. I just think it's funny because I think I've told you this before, but before we met and Clint was just telling me about you, like, oh, dude, my buddy Brad, he's got a podcast, Pearl Jam podcast coming out and blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, I bet he's a real douchebag. And he's been to, because you're a musician, I bet you've been to all their shows.
Right.
And you probably collect every poster and have, you know, the, what do they call it? The special edition posters. Right. You know what I mean?
And then you find out I'm none of those things, but I'm still a D-bag.
Exactly.
It's all right. I'll come to terms with it.
Yeah.
And you did make that joke, and I actually meant to. I'm glad that you did, because I meant to. I don't know that we've actually said this. Maybe we have, and if we have, it was a long time ago, and we need to say it again. But we are going for these Pearl Jam stories. If you haven't heard yours, but you sent yours like 3 weeks ago, it's not because we're skipping them. It's because we're going in order. We just feel like that's the fairest way to do it. Order of when we got the emails. So, you know, if you sent us a Pearl Jam story, then it's in the queue. We're going to get to it. Don't think we're just why we haven't picking them out.
We haven't responded to you either.
Right.
So we will, though. Mm-hmm. All right, so my Pearl Jam story. I am a fan who fell in love with the band later in life. I was in high school when they broke out. I had 10 in verses like everyone else in the world. I listened to them, but never really fell in love with them. I loved certain songs, but it never took hold for me. I was a hip-hop kid. I love all kinds of music, but in high school and college it was hip-hop for me, especially when I started DJing. Then in 2000, a buddy of mine who loved the band was graduating college. Pearl Jam was on tour, so a group of us decided to get him tickets to the September 5th show in Pittsburgh. I was going with a girlfriend, and we decided to take our own car so we could leave at the Encore and beat traffic and head on to a weekend getaway. Going into the show, I knew the hits, Even Flow, Jeremy, Alive, etc. But they opened the show with Even Flow, Hail Hail, Animal, and Corduroy. At that point, I looked at my girlfriend and said, we aren't going anywhere. Something was in the air. I could feel it. It was like a religious experience, and I knew my life would be changed forever. That show was absolutely amazing. Ed even brought a fan on stage who said they had seen at least Ed even brought a fan on stage who he said they had seen at like the last 5 or 6 shows. Dude, I'm very tired. Please stay with me.
We're here, bud. Because I'm next. Don't worry.
She had a white umbrella with the word wash on it. He brought her on stage and sang Wash to her. It was a special moment. After the show, we went on our weekend getaway, but the next morning when I woke up and went to the local music store and bought every Pearl Jam CD they had, 10 Verses, Vitology, No Code, Yield, and Binaural. I joined the 10 Club and haven't looked back. I have been lucky to see them a total of 9 more times since then, and 4 Ed solo shows. And in August, I'll get to scratch off a bucket list item and see Pearl Jam where it all started in Seattle. Thank you so much for the pod and building another extension of the Pearl Jam community. Thanks, Brian.
Right on. Thanks, Brian.
Brian Powell.
Yeah,
Dude,
man.
That show, holy shit. 2000.
The
Pittsburgh
Pittsburgh
2000. Yeah, I looked it up. I mean, that set list is insane.
Yeah.
I want to say it had I Got Shit on it. Like Immortality. I Got You. The cover.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just insane. So
Kick ass.
I could see getting charged up seeing that show.
Hell yeah. Man, Brian, thanks so much for the email. Hope you're still with us.
Yeah, man. I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't mean to botch your words.
No, I didn't mean like that. I just meant when he wrote in. Like 10 pods ago, 10 episodes ago.
I got you.
Not because of you,
I was gonna say,
dumb.
Like,
God, what a dick I would be. Well, now that my partner in the show has totally fucking butchered your email, I think...
I feel like I'm talking real slow and just like... Blah, blah, blah.
Oh, you always do that. It's fine.
Kind of... Put your... on iTunes at least, or Apple Podcasts, you can like... You can turn the... You could make it go faster by like a half step. So just do that. Just do that when I'm reading, and maybe it'll sound right.
That's fair enough. All right, let's move on to. Let's see. We had a lot of emails this week, and
yes,
as we
did.
stated, we're kind of against the clock here, so we're gonna touch on some of our patrons from Patreon that emailed, and I guess a new listener as well. We've had a bunch of them this week, and I don't know how you guys found us, but we're glad you did. So I'm going to get on with John Farrar's email. He says, and just I'll go ahead and preface this because we got a lot of emails about the Dream Set list. And as much as we love you guys sending them in, and we will talk about them, we are not going to read every entire set list of 30-something songs. So
I think we learned with the top 10 list, it just turns into a mishmash of songs where you're not even like it doesn't come off. It doesn't translate to the podcast.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Does that make sense?
We're learning as we go here.
Yeah.
He says, Brad, love this week's episode. Maybe my favorite one yet. Thanks for the shout out. I was happy to send the rock line with Ed and Jeff. I'll be interested to hear what Brad L. thinks of it after he hears it. And Brad L. still hasn't heard it. It's on my list, though, for sure, because I can't wait to listen to it.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. This is great PJ story time from Carlos. It got me thinking. I have terabytes and terabytes of MP3s. Is there any way we could send USB drives full of music to Cuba? Some kind of sharing program. I think that is awesome. And he's not the only person that wrote in this week saying hey, can we hook up with Carlos and give him some shit?
Yeah, we need to email Carlos, or
Absolutely.
if he's listening,
hopefully
email us in. If you've got an address we can send it to, or...
Or just the best way, if you don't mind us giving people your email address to contact you, stuff like that, because people have asked for it. So if you're still listening, let us know, and we'll email you as well. He says, rethinking album rankings. We'll do all this once again once the new album comes out. Patience. God, I can't wait I can't wait to hear the new record. He says, on the set list, yours were great, but so unrealistic. They are never going to play Out of Your Mind again or Against the 70s. I tried to keep mine semi-realistic, especially songs that take on a new life live and have those special moments. I made it before I finished the episode, and I have a lot of the same songs. And he said, Indifference. I thought this would be easy, but it ended up being much harder to narrow down. So I'm not going to go through his whole list, but I do like the way he opened with Oceans, into Sometimes, into Last Exit, into Hail Hail, into Why Go. That's a badass way to start a set. Damn.
Hell yeah.
And then he goes into like an In My Tree Evolution vibe. Let's see here. He's with you on The Daughter and the It's Okay tag. I starred this one because I agree totally. Infallible, he has that in there. He says his most underrated song on Lightning Bolt. He used Rearview Mirror for a set closer. He said it was perfect. And then we got into some songs that he put Strangest Tribe in Encore 1, which I thought was cool and interesting. How I left, I wish I could remember my thinking now, because now that we've gotten some lists in, I'm looking at other people, I'm like, how did I leave that song off? And one of those is Fatal. I don't know how the fuck I left that song off my list.
We talked about it.
I did. I can't remember why I didn't get it on there, but let's see here. Encore 2, he says, Given to Fly Corduroy, they have earned their place amongst the tall trees. Let's see, he's got Black Alive, and then he ended it just like us with Indifference.
Yeah.
Which is kick-ass. It's cool to hear someone else put that on there. But yeah, that's John Farrar's list. Thanks so much for sending that email in, dude. And we'll figure out the Carlos communication as well. Who you got next?
Who Who do I have next?
You are tired. Oh my God.
I have Mike Gibson. All right, Bradlingtons. Here it is. My Judgment Day. I pee during even flow. I don't brag about it, but I'm certainly not ashamed either, and here's my reasoning. I'm fortunate to have seen Pearl Jam a lot. There's been a few tours where I've done a few shows in a row, and you know what? I like to drink before and during. Big whoop. Want to fight about it? Anyways, I'm no scientician, but generally speaking, even flow seems to come out around songs 7 through 12 in the set list. If you're anything like me, you've chugged your last beer, ran to your seat, and grabbed 2 more on the way. Now, I need to ask you something. 7 songs, 35 minutes, 35 moms, full bladder? Is that...
Oh, I didn't notice that before.
Is that a typo? Or is that some, like, weird drinking term I've never heard of?
I don't know, actually.
Okay.
I'm with you.
Well, Mike, let us know what you're saying here. I don't know. Maybe Mike's like Australian or something?
Yeah.
I don't know. But he wrote 7 songs equals 35 minutes. 35 moms equals full bladder.
Maybe a mom is a beer or
like
something.
An ounce? 35 moms. I don't know. Good day, mates.
What the fuck? Like an ounce? Moms?
Yeah.
Good day, mates. You had to throw that in there? Oh, man.
Always.
I say we only do emails when you're really tired.
I mean, I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
That's, but I don't know what moms are.
Okay.
I've got nothing against the song, but when it comes down to it, Even Flow gives me a solid 6 to 8 minutes of uninterrupted pee/beer time. On top of that, if I ever went to pee during a shorter song and got stuck when the Rarity of the Century came out, I'd never live it down. Do I go every single Even Flow? No. Do I know I'll be happy when I have 2 beers in my hand and can see the entire band to the... Sorry.
I've been laughing with my hand over my mouth ever since you said uninterrupted.
When I tried to say
ooh.
I did my own personal record scratch.
Oh, man. Okay.
All right. Do I know I'll be happy when I have 2 beers in my hand and can see the entire band to the opening notes of Fatal? Hells yes, sir. Later, nerds. Mike Gibson.
Thanks, Mike.
Dude, I feel like he's probably directing this more towards me because I hate when people are like, "Oh, that's my piss song."
Right.
But I totally get what he's saying. If I followed them around and saw them a bunch of times and a few shows in a row, I totally get needing to take a break. So,
well, here's the difference too, Brad, is that you're not really a drinker per se.
That's exactly.
So that's the big difference right there. And as someone who's done my fair share of drinking, once you break the seal, man, you've got to find the time somehow. Right. Unless you're going to be the drunk guy that just pees at your seat.
Hey, I saw Slayer like a year and a half ago, and this dude took a piss in a bottle on the rail because he didn't want to lose his rail spot. Yeah.
All right. Like, do what you got to do, I guess.
Okay.
Oh, my God. No, I'm with him, though. I understand. I totally understand.
Tales from the Rails.
Tales from the Rails.
That would be a good
Did you just make that up?
Yeah.
Oh, my God, dude.
That'd be like a great, either like a podcast, Mm-hmm. That's what me and Amanda should do that.
Yeah.
Tales from the Rails.
Tales from the Rails. Oof, man. It's heavy shit, dude.
You got to cut all this out so people don't steal it. Don't steal Tales from the Rails.
Trademarked. Done.
Yeah. Yes.
Copywritten. All rights reserved.
Yeah.
Done. I just took care of it for you.
Okay, cool.
Well, thanks again, Mike.
Moms too. I'm trademarking that. That's a new slang for beers.
Moms. Oh, God. All right. Next, we got Al Frazier. He says, "What's up, Bradlingtons?" That was 2 Bradlingtons in a row.
Whoa.
Thanks for the shout out in episode 39. Like I said in my other emails, I'm still playing catch up and in no rush. But I get to walk you down memory lane on last podcasts. Let's see. All right. So basically, because I'm just going to butcher this if I try to really read it. He came up with his own point system for the records. So basically, he said 2 points for songs added to my... Oh, he's doing this through Apple Music, by the way. 2 points for songs added to my library and with the little heart, the like. 1 point for songs added to my library and no like. 0 points for songs not added to my library. -1 point for throwaway track. He said, "I'm looking at you. Hey, Foxy, Mob Handle Mama." Bonus 1 point for a song that had a star by it, which means it's a popular track on Apple Music. And basically, Verses came out at number 1. Let's see. Riot Act and 10 came out number 2, kind of tied for number 2, I guess, at 20 points.
Which is crazy because Riot Act is generally considered not a fan favorite.
No, I mean, it seems like it's almost always been in the back 5. But
yeah.
Number 3, 19 points. Both No Code and Binaural hit 19 points. Let's see. Number 4, 18 points with Yield and Avvocato both got 18 points on his list. Vitology and Lightning Bolt both scored only 16 points at number 5. He says for Vitology, "Oh, so many throwaways."
Yeah.
Which makes sense. And then, Backspacer came in last place, 13 points. So, let's see. He says, "Now on a serious note, I was listening to the Perfect Setlist podcast, the game we all played at the bar before show, and I was really struck by Carlos's story and his difficulty in securing the music of a band that means so much to him. I can only imagine if I was faced with that and to be cut off from music because of my circumstance. I've been fortunate enough to see PJ 13 times, and to never experience them live would leave a hole in my soul. I'm what you'd call a serious bootleg collector. I have most of the official bootlegs, hundreds of shows on cassette." He says XL2s, Brad. I'm assuming he's talking to me. Because I talked about the type of cassettes I used to buy. Nerd alert.
Is that the Maxells?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I had those too.
And let's see. And I've been filling in my official bootleg CD collection for a while. He goes on. He's got so much shit.
Yeah.
He says, basically, he says, "I want to share these with Carlos." And he asked if we could, would be willing to share his information with him. So another person wanted to give Carlos the hookup down in Cuba. So we'll reach out to Carlos, and like we said earlier, hopefully he's been listening. He says, "Whether it's in GA or in life, we have to look out for each other. So help me spread the jam. Keep up the great work, and I'll keep listening. See you on side B, Al Frazier." Thanks, Al. We'll get that Carlos hookup going.
Yeah, definitely.
And I like to
when I wake up in 2 days, I'll send him an email.
Yeah, right. Well, at least you have the day off tomorrow, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm sleeping.
You got that right. You too, right?
I'm gonna take a half day tomorrow because I actually am gonna do that because I'm about to die over here. And I've been listening to this podcast, and the guy it's like a 2-hour long podcast, and this guy is talking about how detrimental lack of sleep is.
Oh yeah.
For every aspect of your life. And I'm just sitting there like, well, I'm going to die in like a year. I got to fix this.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's see. Oh, and we got a new one from a new listener. Her name is Lindsay Andrew. She says, "Hello, whichever Brad is reading this, it's both."
Yes.
Mine, although Brad B is usually the one to reply. but we both read them. My name is Lindsay Andrews, and I just want to let you know that I really love your podcast. I've been listening to it at every free moment I have. It hasn't been 48 hours since I listened to my first episode, but I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be hooked for a while. Both of y'all do a great job of making it sound very conversational and easy to listen to, much better than some higher-end podcasts that I've listened to. I don't know what that means. That we're not a high-end podcast, but totally fucking with you. I appreciate that you two are willing to make this for the Pearl Jam community, because I don't really have anyone to talk to about this band in real life, since I'm much younger than most of the band's fans. I was born a few days before Binaural was released. So that was 2000, right?
Yeah.
So, man, 18 years old. Come on. That's awesome.
Was it 2000? No.
Was it not?
Binaural? I don't know.
No, I don't remember.
Wait. Oh, you know what? I got it right here in front of me. Dude, it is 2000.
That's what I thought.
Millennial baby, right?
Yeah, man. She says...
Youngster. God, that's like 18.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Holy shit.
She says, it's nice...
Sorry, Kate.
I know. We got you beat now.
Kate was our youngest. Wasn't Kate like our youngest?
Well, that we know of, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
It's nice to be able to listen to the conversation between two people who are just as interested in the Pearl Jam or in Pearl Jam as I am. Because I live in the middle of flyover country, I've never had the chance to see a live performance. But from the videos I've seen, it looks like a truly awesome experience, and I hope to go to one someday. It's nice to know that PJ still has such a huge following, even if I don't get to see it face to face. Also, despite what the fan base appears to think, I will definitely state that Self-Titled is the best record ever made. Wow. That's,
yeah,
man, fucking go for it. I like it. I mean, I don't agree, but I love that you're just like, not my favorite Pearl Jam record.
I love that Lindsay loves it.
Hell yeah. She says, she qualifies it too. Best record ever made by Pearl Jam or any other artist. And I love it so much that I've been saving up my money to get an Avvocato tattoo on my arm. I'll eventually get an Alive Stickman to match it on the other, but 06 is such a masterpiece that I'm obligated to get it first. Keep making your great content. I'll be tuning in every week. She says, Lindsay A., middle of fucking nowhere, USA. Probably a third of the age of your other listeners.
Yeah.
She's funny too. I love it.
You know, I wonder if this is... that's stupid. Never mind.
Okay. I'm not even going to pry.
I am curious where she lives, because I live in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah. When she says that, I think like my homeland, like Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Nebraska.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
Who knows? But thanks so much for listening, Lindsay, and hopefully we'll keep being interesting for you. So
yeah, thank you.
Keep in touch, please. Do we have any more emails, Brad B?
No.
No. No. Okay, good. All right. Well, as you guys...
did want to give.
Yep.
I wanted to give a shout out to. I was talking about Clint earlier. Clint and Ethan from Metal Up Your Podcast. Ethan, I don't know if you heard this yet, but Ethan was out hanging out in Nashville somewhere. I think at a bar. And he said when he was walking out, some dude was like, "Oh, hey, man, you're Ethan. Like, I love the podcast." And he was like, "Which one?" And he said, "Metal Up Your Podcast." He's like, "Oh, cool." And he said as he was walking away, the dude stopped and turned around and said, "Oh, tell Brad and Brad I love Single Podcast Theory, too."
Oh, that's cool, man.
So I was like, "Oh, that is cool."
That's awesome.
So, dude out drinking in Nashville with a Predators jersey. Thanks, bro.
Yeah, bro. I dig it.
So you ever do that thing where you're like about to say a word and then you say a different word instead?
And then you mix them together?
Out? Yeah.
Like, no, I feel good.
Like, thanks.
Good.
Bro.
Great and good.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's, that's it for the emails. We're done.
Dude,
for real, that's
do
it.
Do we need to redo this?
No, it's great, dude.
This is awful.
For once, I feel like I'm more present than you are.
Oh, I guarantee you are.
All right, before we move on into this week's topic, let's give some love to our supporters on Patreon. If you don't know about that, it's a really cool, easy, fun way to support the show, because getting this out every week does take time and money out of our pockets. We don't use any of this money for ourselves. It's just all for the show. You can find us. It's patreon.com. That's patreon.com. And all the info is right there if you're interested. If not, totally cool. But this is a way for us to keep doing this or making it available for free, which we love. So we got a new one this week.
We did.
Who we got?
Krista Kruzmeyer.
Nice. Does it say where she's from?
I don't think.
No.
Well, you want to give that information out? She might not want it out.
That's true. Ooh. We could have really just broken some serious trust.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, God, I'm the worst. Well, thanks.
She might be from Australia.
Are you just guessing?
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Every one of our listeners is from Australia.
Yeah.
Didn't you know that?
Yeah. That's why I always say, "Good day, mates."
Just make them feel warm
Good day,
and included.
Patreons.
Patreons.
Yeah.
But thanks to all you guys that have given and continue to add to that list.
Yeah, definitely.
It's really going to pay
serious.
off.
Can we get serious for a minute?
Yeah.
Please.
I'm always serious, bro. You know me.
Yeah.
Look, okay, get serious.
Oh. I just want to thank everybody for listening and taking the time to write in, and obviously for patrons that donate. I mean, that's pretty insane.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
We do love getting emails from everybody, and we don't always get a chance to email back and reply right away, but we do read each and every one pretty much as soon as they pop up, like on my phone. But it's definitely appreciated, and we are not replying on purpose or for some like lazy reason.
Yeah. Well, as the show grows, it changes, and we kind of we had to adjust our schedule because it just wasn't working, to get the shows done in a reasonable time every week, and we'll get the emails figured out as well. But the good thing is that sometimes there's just too many to respond to all of them, what I mean? Which is great, and we just want to let you guys know that we appreciate it. So whether you are one of our patrons or someone that quote-unquote just emails into the show, we love you equally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we appreciate it. We've gotten lots of love over the last few months. All right, cool. Thanks again to our patrons. That was the emails. Let's get into some storytellers.
Good evening. This is Storytellers. We are here to tell stories.
There's not much story behind the music, is there?
Oh, you don't know the half.
I still feel like a very ordinary person.
Songwriting is good therapy.
I write songs.
I wrote this song and
No, don't edit this part out.
I don't know any of you, and
We
I'm
were
telling
just
you.
these kids in a
Let's
garage.
start at the beginning now.
Welcome to Storytellers.
Welcome to Storytellers.
Welcome to Storytellers.
All right. That was the lovely VH1 Storytellers intro.
Sounds kind of familiar.
Yeah, I know, man. There's some bits you may have heard before if you listen to our show. Well, why don't you start us off with some just kind of general facts real quick before we start breaking it down?
Okay. Yeah, the actual concert was recorded on May 31st, 2006 at Club Avalon in New York City. And what's kind of cool is they played this place in 1992 when it was called Limelight.
Mm-hmm.
So if that can give you kind of an idea, like for people that haven't seen this,
right,
give you an idea of how small this place is that they're playing, that this was one of the like clubs that they played in the early days.
Yeah, it's crazy. I get get jealous when I see stuff like that because it's hard to tell because of the way it was shot, but it looks like, it couldn't hold more than 1,000 people at tops.
Right.
It seems like a pretty small crowd.
Yeah, and I don't even think it's that big.
It looks more like around 500 to 700 or something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, obviously it was recorded for this VH1 Storytellers. But it premiered on VH1 on July 1st that year. So just like a month later, they showed it on TV. Do you remember watching it when it first came on?
I do.
Yeah.
A lot of.
I think it's cool. It's a cool idea. Just the storytellers. What's the word? Format.
Right.
Because there's a bunch of them, and they, Pearl Jam is pretty. Eddie talks a lot in between songs, but there are some bands that, famously don't say anything on stage. So this gave, bands an opportunity to talk about these songs. And I just thought that was cool. I was excited when I heard about this coming on.
Well, and the fact that they did Storytellers at all at, I guess maybe not at this time, but it's kind of antithetical to them just not doing a lot of press and doing a lot of those kind of shows. But I just wonder if the trade-off that made them willing to do it or made Eddie willing to do it, however you want to look at it, was the fact that he was like, okay, but I'm going to talk about what's going on right now. Politically. That's the trade-off. Because the weird thing is, you're used to seeing Eddie in interviews that are more conversational or maybe things that he'll say kind of off the cuff in between songs in a normal set, but this is different. He had a music stand and you can see his notes that he's written out for each thing, which was at moments is a little strange because I don't know if the crowd was picking up on when he is being serious and when he's being funny. Did you notice that?
I noticed that he was reading from his notes.
Right.
And I thought that was odd.
Yeah, no, I guess we both feeling the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's a couple times where he'd tell he was trying to be funny. At some point I can't remember which part, talking about the truth. And finally he just kind of goes, there's this second awkward pause and he's like, so I'm saying that's what we're going for is the truth. Right. And then everyone started clapping.
Right. Yeah.
And I guess it makes sense even from a crowd perspective. That there's an official taping going on. It's not like going to a normal show. And so they're probably worried about can I clap here? Do we yell?
Yeah, that's
How
true.
does this work, And,
well, for him, too, it's not a regular type thing where it's not stage banter. The show's called Storyteller, so he's kind of trying to tell these stories and get across a point in a different way than he's probably used to.
Sure.
But the rearview mirror joke came off pretty good, I thought. No. And I wonder if that was off the cuff. I'm assuming it was. Yeah, and that was funny. Well, I mean, we'll get to that in a minute. But
sure.
I just, should we say at the top of this, this episode, this part of the episode is going to be pretty clip heavy.
Yeah. I mean, well, a couple things, and one of them we haven't even talked about yet, but I'm just kind of curious. It's going to be almost like I'm interviewing you in a way, but so just so everyone knows, instead of we're going to let them do the talking, meaning all of these kind of intros where Eddie or Matt or Stone or Mike or whoever is talking, we're going to drop the whole clip into the whole song and then kind of give our thoughts afterwards instead of us trying to paraphrase or misquote or whatever, especially because of the subject matter. You know what I mean? I don't, for me anyway, I don't want to misrepresent what was being said. But on top of that, I was curious to know how you feel, because I didn't think about this. I don't know if you did when we decided to do this topic for this week, but I think I had forgotten how much political content there was. And I know you tend to, like, I don't know, shy away is the right word.
Yeah.
You tend to not be too into that kind of conversation. But there's no way we're doing this episode without talking about it. I mean, I don't want to get in the weeds or anything, but I didn't know how you felt about it.
No, I don't mind. But yeah, I agree with you. There's a lot more. The biggest thing, because I haven't watched this in a while, the biggest thing I remember is the curse. Like,
yeah, totally.
That is one of my favorite. I can't wait to like play that. But that story about Alive, like, is one of my favorite Pearl Jam moments. Not just from Storytellers, just in my Pearl Jam fandom. That is up there, you know.
Absolutely.
With you know, I don't know, seeing them for the first time, or I don't know. It's just one of my favorite all-time moments. But yeah, watching this the last couple days, like, they do get into, you know, political stuff, specifically Bush and Cheney, which sounds, in the current Trump administration climate, like, man, I wish we could go back to these days, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. If you thought people hated George Bush and Dick Cheney 10 years ago, like, it is so much worse and on such a different level with Trump, you know?
Mm-hmm. And it's so interesting too, and we'll get into this in a minute, obviously, but how it's almost like the stuff he's saying from 2006, yes, it was applicable then, but it's even more applicable now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
you
totally.
know? Like, that bubble has already burst, you know?
Yeah. And it's kind of made me... It's kind of got me excited, because I'm wondering if we're going to get a lot of political talk in the next few months. Well, like at these concerts this summer. Mm-hmm. You know? I'm
sure there's got to be some, but...
Yeah.
And I mean, the first single deals kind of directly with, you know, that kind of subject matter, so... but we'll get into that in just a minute. So let's start off with the first song and the little intro to it, which is Better Man.
Great friend of ours from Seattle, a guy called Bob Whitaker, he once said, don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. I've been thinking about that. Yeah, Bob. Now, I don't think Bob has ever met either Dick Cheney or George Bush, but somehow they got that information from another source. And they what they've done with that idea, never let the truth get in the way of a good story, is, to be honest, quite astonishing. So we find ourselves living in a country and at a time where truth seems to be a vanishing commodity. And... but the truth doesn't disappear. The truth is always there. It's omnipresent. And but it's somehow getting lost in a barrage of misinformation and fear, is how we feel. So the truth has become less accessible just because it can't get to the surface. So tonight, what we'd like to do is try to access some truth, the ugly truth, the beautiful truth. We're going for the truth, is what I'm saying. The whole truth. And nothing but the truth. So, help me, God.
Waiting, watching the clock, it's 4 o'clock, it's got to stop. Tell him, take no more. She practices her speeches. He opens the door. She rolls over, pretends to sleep as he looks her over. She lies and says she's in love with him. find a better man.
All right, so that was obviously Eddie kind of giving us a little, I don't know, political perspective intro into Better Man, which he does address. I believe it might be, or it's later on as well. But I don't. So what do you think listening to that from 2006?
Well, like you just said a minute ago, like it's very interesting that this could be applied to Trump and everything that's going on right now. The truth is omnipresent, and it's being held back by fear and lies. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's pretty interesting that that stuff could apply today, 12 years later.
Well, and to me, the funny thing is, like, you don't even have to buy into a certain side's political ideology or ideology in general. It's more about this kind of, I don't know, philosophy of truth or political philosophy, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
because now it's at a point where the extremes of both sides are not beholden to the truth, in the sense that, I mean, you have huge like whole television stations that are not news. They don't have to, stick by traditional journalistic standards. You have to work a lot harder to find out what is the nugget of truth within someone's take on something. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like how kind of definitely. Like complicated it's gotten, because sometimes there are two sides to the truth, right? And the way you approach the world is in opposition to someone else's quote unquote side of it, but there's still truth on either side, right?
Yeah.
Whereas now it's gotten even worse, where it's like, I just don't agree. I don't like what you're saying, so fuck you. Right. Even if there's truth in it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which completely shuts down conversation, and it's bad for everybody. And it's just so strange, again, to hear him talking in 2006, and all you have to do on his side is replace a couple names, and you could totally be talking about right now. You know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
On a lighter note, the Bob Whitaker reference where he's talking about something to the effect of, don't let the truth get in the way of a good song. And Bob Whitaker was, if I'm thinking of the right Bob Whitaker anyway, he was a band manager for like Mudhoney, REM, a couple other bands, and I know Eddie and the band have done some like charity work with Bob Whitaker and whatever, but that's kind of like an old songwriting trope where it's like, if it sings better to say she has blue eyes, even though she has green eyes, fucking say that she has blue eyes.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. Yeah. You can still get the point across and have it sing well or whatever. I just thought that was a cool little. What it has to do with what he went on to talk about, I guess I do understand just the whole idea of the truth, but and then we start off with the boom intro to Better Man, right?
Yeah, it was a little different intro than we're used to.
Yeah. He's kind of got that old saloon piano sound.
Yeah. The whole show, I don't know if you noticed this, but it seemed to have a different kind of sound. And I'm assuming it's just because it's a smaller venue. But did that now?
Well, what do you mean by? Well, I guess maybe I don't understand what you're saying, which is probably my fault, not yours. But
no. I mean, I don't know. The songs, maybe it's just my TV, the way I'm listening to it. But the audio just kind of sounded a little different. Not bad or like better or worse, but it just sounded like the music sounded different in that room.
Yeah,
but then what I'm used to, and the only thing I can attribute to that is because this is a little tiny club, and I'm so used to the bootlegs. You know what? I bet that's it. It's the crowd. I'm so used to bootlegs with 20, 30,000 people screaming underneath the music.
Right.
Where this didn't have The crowd wasn't that loud because there wasn't that many people there.
Yeah, it's like
Maybe
there's no room
hearing.
ambience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like you said, it's not a huge crowd just going nuts the whole time. They're sitting there listening or standing there listening, you know?
Yeah.
And that could be a mixed thing too. Like, you know, I'm sure there had to have been some room mics in that place and maybe they just didn't use them, you know? But
yeah.
Then let's listen to Stone talk for a second about Better Man and Eddie.
What is your feeling on the fact that Better Man has become somewhat of a popular love song? When did you write that song?
Should have graduated, but I hadn't.
Uh-huh. So he had that song for almost 4 years.
I would have been in high school had I been going to high school.
4 or 5 years when we were in a band before he ever broke it out, which is really funny. Just think of the other songs he has hidden away that they're...
Yeah, so I know it's not a new topic, just the fact that Eddie wrote that song when he was so young. But what I do like is Stone's comment about like how many more does he have hidden away, and obviously we can't represent this on the audio, but if you watch that, when Stone says that, Eddie kind of smirks like, like motherfucker, I've got so many. And no one will probably ever hear him.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is unfortunate. I haven't listened to him in a long time, but that hallucinogenic recipe box set had, 20 tracks of Eddie's, like, bedroom demos. It's a lot of it, they're not, like, full songs. They're just, like, a minute or two.
Right.
But there's some that are great.
I'm sure. Yeah. I haven't listened to that in forever.
Yeah. What's the one? Believe You Me?
I remember
Believe
that
You
title.
Me could be like a radio hit.
Oh, really?
I just remember. Yeah, I remember that song was really good, and I think there's another one, but there was a couple that I would love, to hear what they would do with that. But
yeah. All right. Well,
it is. Just real quick, it is crazy. Being 42. And because at the time, I always heard that he wrote that song when he was young. But being being 42 years old and thinking, like my daughter's 18. So thinking about her being, 16, 17 years old a couple years ago and writing a song when she was that age. Like, holy shit. Like this dude was just a teenager. He's a kid writing some of these songs. It's incredible.
That song called Better Man was written when I look back when I was just a kid, a good many years before I was even in the group. And it was based on observations and things I had witnessed in regards to abusive relationships, and how apparently it was much more tricky to end them than I would have thought growing up. And when we played that song on this Vote for Change tour a couple years ago, November, it seemed to, during the last election, it seemed to take on a political bent, that song. And so it seemed as if the citizens' relationship with our own government was evolving into what could be seen as an abusive relationship, and one that was seemingly difficult to get out of. As we traveled the country, we found it heartbreaking to see a lot of the people that were supporting the Republican administration, supporting and voting for that current administration, were also the same people who were going to be that would be most adversely affected by the agenda of those conservatives in power.
It wasn't necessarily a meeting or a conscious effort like we're going to attack any sort of issue. It was more of a personal journey, I think, for Ed on some of those, touching some of those subjects, say like on worldwide suicide for sure. Those are things that have all touched us. The whether it be the war, whether it be the state of the United States right now, and I think it just kind of happened. There's many different reasons why this record was made, but they weren't really initially talked about. They just they happened.
I think the same frustration that you feel with the government now is just, it's kind of bred from, adults playing some kind of bullshit game when you're a kid and seeing right through it. If you've been through it, even when it happens on a grand scale, like let's say the Bush administration, you just see right through it. It's the same mode of operation. It's the same set of behaviors.
Yeah, it was cool to hear Mike talk about it. It was cool to hear Eddie talk about just specifically the idea of adult relationships and thinking about them as an adult and kind of putting that up against how you think about them when you're a kid. How much more complicated it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it's a very super interesting way to look at that song. Obviously, he didn't write it for this reason, but just that if, the U.S., the people are the, people singing the song and the government is the better man, just looking at the lyrics that way and how it is an abusive relationship,
Sure.
And I don't know. I love little weird takes on like a lyrical interpretation like that.
Right. Yeah, agreed.
And kind of what Mike was saying about, like, they didn't sit down and have a meeting and say, like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to attack George Bush and we're going to attack the war. And it just kind of happened that they wrote these songs. And that's one thing I've always loved about this band is that, yeah, they're political, but they're so subtle about it, Yeah,
interesting. Yeah, like, and I'm not at all challenging this. Like, do you really feel like there's like a lot of subtlety in it? Because I think I understand what you're saying in the sense that the way it's folded into lyrics, he doesn't, he doesn't necessarily use names or.
I think he definitely knows who his songs and lyrics, and the band does too, who they're aimed at. Right. But I also think the way he writes the songs, it's subtle enough that if you're not paying attention to like the political world, then you're not even going to catch on.
Yeah. No,
Does that make sense?
That makes total sense. Yeah. I think it's interesting too, like, because I was wondering if or how many listeners of our podcast, if these people that I'm talking about have made it to this point in the show, in the sense that there are Pearl Jam fans that are just like, I don't want to fucking hear about the politics. You know
they're out there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And for me, it is. I don't, and Eddie alludes to this at some point in the show, I believe, too. Like, it's not about that you have to agree with Eddie on everything, right? But you have to, or I feel like you have to come at it with the understanding that the way he writes songs and where the political songs come from that you might not like or you don't agree with or whatever is coming from the same place as all the songs that you love and want to listen to 1,000 times. And you can't have one without the other because it's about his individual processing of the world he sees as it relates to him, and that's what art is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
You can't.
But again, that goes back to, I think that, again, the political, quote unquote, political stuff is subtle enough, and those songs are kind of few and far between. I don't think the songs of Pearl Jam are so overtly political and anti this or anti that. I think the band members definitely take a stand on what they believe in. But if you just listen to the songs, most of them don't have a political bent to them. And the ones that do aren't like super over the top. Maybe Bush Leaguer.
I was going to say,
can't deny me.
There's only a couple.
Yeah, but there's some that unless you're really looking real deep into it, on the surface, they're not that super political.
Yeah.
To me.
No, I totally agree. I'm with you. Yeah, I'm glad you explained it the way you have, because at first, when we started this part of the conversation, I wasn't so sure that I understood where you're coming from, but I totally get it. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, and I want to say, too, just to represent myself, you know, I also don't want to sound wishy-washy. Like, I'll like, full disclosure, if I'm going to pick, quote-unquote, pick sides, I'm definitely... I lean liberal. If, you know, there's nothing that Eddie says when he talks about this stuff that I'm ever like, what is he talking about? I kind of think the same way he does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I just think it's so important, you know, if you're going to broach the conversation, that this is why the conversations are utterly and horribly failing. You know, it's like people like me get frustrated because I truly do feel like I'm an independent, and you feel a little lost in times like these because everyone is so fucking hell-bent on picking a side with their fingers in their ears, even if their side is saying or doing something wrong.
Yeah.
You know, no side is perfect. You just have to admit the faults and fucking continue the conversation so it actually gets better, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the end of my rant. At least for this segment.
Yeah, until we get to the next song.
Exactly. So yeah, there's a little bit of worldwide suicide. It's cool also seeing, a song like this, because when was, my dates are all out of my head, when was Avvocato released in relation to...
I think that would have been a new song, wouldn't it?
Right.
Isn't it 06?
Yeah, it's definitely for that record cycle. I just didn't know if it was something they had... Surely this came out after the record came out, but... I love that song. I know a lot of people shit on
Suicide?
it. Yeah.
I like it. I don't hate it.
Uh-huh.
But watching it live, man, there's something about it live. Like them playing it. It's just felt like, I don't know. There was something about listening to it live at this show.
Well, it's because they haven't played it 1,000 times yet.
Yeah, maybe
it's
that's
still
what it
new
is.
and fresh. And,
yeah.
You know?
Not that the album version's bad. It just was something about it, like, I don't know how else to say it, but like,
no,
it
it's
popped.
like inside job for me. I'm like super lukewarm on that song on the studio version, but when I've seen it live, whether on YouTube or or listen to it in a bootleg, I fucking love it. It just translates so much better live, you know.
I'm like that with Nothing As It Seems. Like on the record, I'm just like I'm good, but man, to hear it live or to see it, I don't know. There's something about seeing Mike playing that song live.
He's a fucking animal.
Yeah, I know.
When that's one of those things for me, though. Real quick to your point, like I love the studio version, not because I tend towards that necessarily, but because like every time that song starts, I swear to God, I remember where I was living. I remember the smell of that house. You know what I mean? It's super visceral, like takes me back, you know?
Yeah, memory burn.
Yeah, dude.
Real quick, Avvocato was released May 2nd, so just 4 weeks before this was recorded.
There we go. Okay.
But Worldwide Suicide was the first single, and it came out in March.
So that song had been out for a while.
So yeah,
Gotcha.
it had been out for a while. And I seem to remember that song was like all over the radio. Yep. I seem to remember like that was a big deal.
Well, this was kind of their return to doing some press and things like VH1 Storytellers and I don't know. I just wonder how much of it was because of the political climate. But
was this the album that was like the Target album, or was that?
Yes, I believe so. No.
Okay.
No, that was Backspacer, wasn't it?
Man,
I don't remember because I'll be honest with you, I don't. All
right, we're done. Podcast is over.
I quit.
We're bad. We're bad Pearl Jam fans.
Man, it's. I've just. Yeah, sometimes it's a Pearl Jam info overload for me. Sometimes you ask a question like that I probably do know the answer to, but in the moment I'm like short circuiting in my brain.
I just feel like what's the song that was the video was directed by, wasn't it Cameron Crowe, and it was like them just in a room with a bunch of fans, and the camera kept like swirling around Eddie. Does that make sense? That was like,
yeah, I'm pretty sure that
was
song.
This, wasn't it? Yeah,
let me see here.
That was like the Target.
It is. I'm looking on my phone right now. No, it was Backspacers, The Fixer.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Just cut all that out. Make us look good. Thanks.
No, I'm not cutting it out because I was right.
I know.
You can't take that away from me, Brad B.
No, dude, it's all yours.
I'm just kidding.
I was wrong.
Okay, let's see if I got my notes correct here. So we're gonna move into Gone next.
Yeah.
I've realized a few things about some of the songs, some of our songs, as part of this little exercise. And one is that a number of our songs are similar in that they're narratives, and the scene usually has the narrator sitting behind the wheel of a moving vehicle. We have maybe 5 or 6 songs like this, not 20, 30, not Bruce Springsteen 40 car songs, but we're catching up. Bruce is still the boss as far as car songs go, but we're working our way up to assistant manager at this point. But I've noticed that these songs aren't so much about where the driver's headed, but it's more about what they're getting away from. A song like Rearview Mirror, and I think that's. Thank you. We won't be playing that tonight. You can turn that fan off. It's doing a Steven Tyler thing up here. No offense, Steven.
Go to VH1.com right now to see an exclusive performance from this Storytellers.
So this song called Gone is... It's about one who is not just leaving a relationship behind, but everything that they had known, and I think it kind of celebrates the unknown in the chorus when the unknown, usually in your head, is portrayed as daunting. I think it's a story about one in search of their own true selves and having to leave everything, good with the bad, in order to connect with the person they dream of being. And Lou Reed has a song called Small Town, no relation. But there's a line in it that says, there's only one good thing about a small town. You know that you want to get out. So this song's called Gone, and he's getting out. quiet evenings. It's the American dream I am disbelieving. With no gas in my tank, feels like money in the bank. Gonna blow it all this time. Take me one last ride. For the lights of this city, they only look good.
All right, so there you go, Brad B. There was your rear view mirror joke that we referenced earlier.
That's funny. It's good stuff. Yeah, I mean MFC, rear view mirror, Go. I guess Go could be, Go.
Yeah,
could be considered car.
Definitely car related.
Car songs. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a cool observation. And I like the joke too about, we're not on Bruce Springsteen level or whatever he said.
Yeah.
Which is so fucking true, But some of my favorite songs of his are that too, like "Stolen Car" or something like that. It's great shit.
I've never gotten into Springsteen
because you just inherently don't think you like him, or you just haven't.
I tried one time. I worked at a mini golf course in Orlando. And one of the guys I worked with, that's all he listened to. That was like his Pearl Jam. And I just was like, I didn't hate it, but I just don't get it. Like, I don't get why people are so into that music.
Now,
but it's not like Kiss or Pink Floyd where I'm like, oh, this is terrible. I'll never listen to this. I just was like, man, it's all right.
Now let me ask you this then. Are you?
But that was 20. Yeah, go ahead.
Are you referring more to Bruce with E Street or just Bruce solo? Because there is a difference, and I could totally see you not liking the E Street Band combo.
Well, for one, this was like 97, 98, 99.
Yeah.
So whatever was up until that point, but I couldn't tell you what I was listening to.
I think that,
but a lot of the like singer-songwriter type music, I just don't care for. I want something that's got a little more like teeth to it, like a rock band. So,
okay,
I'm totally open
to
listening to some of his stuff. I mean, that's one of those bands like the greatest hits. Like I'm down with Born in the USA and Born to Run and like the big giant hits. I like those songs. But I've never just dug real deep into them.
Interesting. So maybe you do like the E Street Band better. I would have thought that's what you didn't like. All right.
My Hometown? Is that Bruce Springsteen?
My Hometown. That wasn't even a Bruce impersonation. Right. I don't know what that was that I just did just then.
Oh, what's the Courtney Cox song? Dancing in the Dark?
Yeah,
that song?
Dancing in the Dark.
Is that him?
That's him. I just did it's funny you say that too, because while we were sitting here,
I can't tell. Sometimes you'll like say something like that, and I can't tell if you're being serious or not.
No, you know what it is? It's these moments. It probably comes across completely opposite of the way I'm intending, but it's like just for me, it's like I don't know, loving Bruce Springsteen. I mean, I'm not like a Bruce historian or anything, but just like Dancing in the Dark, is that Bruce Springsteen? To me, that's just, and not in a condescending way, it's just funny. Right. You know what I mean? It'd be like you saying Even Flow. Is that that's a Pearl Jam song, right? That's Pearl Jam?
Oh, I got a quick, not even a story, but okay. Right. I'm in the truck on Saturday. We're driving, and I'm listening to my ultimate playlist. Mm-hmm. I made those playlists.
Yeah, totally.
Dude that's in the truck with me helping, he's probably 22. I can't remember what song it was, but we get like 30 seconds into the song. He's like, "Oh, is that Hootie and the Blowfish?"
Oh, I just had a hot flash.
I know, dude. I just did the like, oh. the stake to my heart.
You can't obviously you can't see me right now.
Right.
I have both of my hands on top of each other on the center of my chest, and I'm pushing inwards.
Yes, dude. The Pee Wee Herman as a vampire in the movie Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Just
oh my god, that really freaked me out.
You're gonna wish you died. Ooh, ah, ow, ooh, ooh, ah, ah, ah,
yeah, dude. I just was like,
I mean, the only similarity there is that the vocalists are baritones.
Right.
Oh,
he was trying though. I mean, he was
good
trying.
For him. I mean, he's 22. Yeah. He's in this conversation.
Right.
He's fucked from the beginning.
Right.
So I get it. It's fine. Like it's kind of like the only way Aiden is gonna or knows of Pearl Jam is because like he gets in the car with me and I reach for the volume and he's like, "We're gonna listen to Pearl Jam again." Right. You know what I mean? There's no way he doesn't know like half their catalog, but
right.
You know, not everyone grows up with those parents. So I'm always like, "Yeah, bud, this is you're on the shit in the stick of having a parent that has a Pearl Jam podcast, for God's sake."
Right? Yeah. Get on board because you're on the train.
Yeah. So let's for a second let's keep the lightness and the humor going. I just want we want to play this clip real quick.
Sorry, you can turn that fan off. It's doing a Steven Tyler thing up here. No offense, Steven.
Yeah, a little funny jab at Steven Tyler there with Eddie, with the wind blowing in his hair. Love it. Straight into a really serious song like Gone.
Right. His hair is just flowing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, cool. Well, let's just move on real quick to, as you refer to it, the curse.
Yeah.
This is a little story I'd like to call The Curse. The song Alive, which was on our first record, and was the first song we ever wrote as a group, and a song that we played hundreds of times live. It's really it's been transformed through the years, and it's not so much how we play it or the arrangement, but more the interpretation. So the original story being told in the song is that of a young man being made aware of some shocking truths, and one was that the guy he believed to be his father while growing up was not, and hard truth number 2 was that the real father had passed away a few years before. Now, as if adolescence wasn't tough enough. So when the mom relays this information of the real father's death it leaves the kid who's not terribly stable at that point in his development plenty confused. And I know this because I knew the guy. Not well, but I knew him. I mean, the guy was me, but I barely knew me then. There was to be honest, I was barely there to be known. And so he takes all this news as a curse. You know, fine, you tell me these secrets, I'm supposed to forgive, but I got to figure a way, to live with this. And fine, the dad's dead, but I'm still alive, and I got to deal with this. So it was a curse, I'm still alive. So cut to years later, and we're playing to larger and larger audiences, and they're responding to this chorus in a way that you never thought. And folks are jumping down in the aisles and using their bodies to express themselves and belting it out, singing along, I'm still alive, in mass, So every night when I'd look out on this sea of people reacting in their own positive interpretation, it was really incredible. The audience changed the meaning of these words. And when they sing "I'm Still Alive," it's like they're celebrating. And here's the thing: when they changed the meaning of those words, they lifted the curse.
So I'm sure you feel the same way, but that is without a doubt one of my favorite Eddie moments.
Oh yeah, dude,
period.
It's incredible. I mean, I got tears in my eyes.
Yeah,
just from hearing that again, it's just incredible that. I mean, just what music can do. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, I can see. Somebody just in their room alone writing these words as some sort of release or cathartic thing.
Yeah.
And it's basically for themselves, Yeah. But to then write this song and people start singing along with you, and then you go to other countries where they don't even speak English, and those people are singing in English those words, and it's got to be such a mind fuck. But you kind of feel heartbroken when he says it's a curse to
be alive,
relive that. No, just to
okay.
relive that bad shit every night.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the fact that, the audience, who's us, it's me, it's you, gave him something that turned it into a positive thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an incredible story.
Well, and that's the thing. That's a perfect example of, if someone were, and people do sometimes, but like challenge me on the fact that I love this band, that I can point to that as an example of like, it's not about turning someone else into a fan, but if you can't listen to that and understand what that means to me as a fan and make that more understandable to you, that, it's so funny. So many people really, really don't like Pearl Jam and really
Right.
don't like Eddie Vedder.
Right.
Which is fine, but that to me, because it's an ongoing relationship with the music and through that, I don't mean this in a weird way, through the people that make that music. That's
Mm-hmm.
the one way where you kind of feel like maybe you know them a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool. It's a beautiful way to put it. So then, I think this is perfect timing to play this clip of Matt, because I think it kind of refers to something that you were just saying at the beginning of this little segment, just talking about, the picture of someone sitting in their room and writing things for them as a cathartic experience. And a lot of people can do that, but he's so masterful at kind of painting a picture. And when you think of all the songs where the band or people in the band wrote all the music, and then he had to come in on top of that and I don't know how to describe it. Just fit in to what they had created without any words, and how he it's just such a talent of his, you know what I mean? So here's Matt.
One of the amazing things about Eddie's talents is he's able to, his lyrics are fit. I mean, the way that they fit that piece of music, it was just absolutely perfect. Melodically, and then the lyrical content, it just seemed to fit really good. He's able to do that at such a high level, and it's just insanely difficult to do that.
Yeah, so you see what I'm saying about what you're talking about earlier? Like it wasn't a planned thing. The second you started talking about it, I was like, oh, it's so fitting that we're going to listen to Matt talk next because of what he says, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's something else that maybe you can help me remember this. Eddie was talking about, and for some reason I'm wanting to say it was maybe around the brother/daughter section of PJ20 or something, but he talked about like when he hears the music that the band has written in those scenarios, he like asks himself like, where am I when I'm listening to this music? Like, what does it make me think of? What does it remind me of, or whatever? And
right.
That kind of seems to be the trick into how he can hear the instrumental demo of Alive, right? And then put something on top of it that not just fits melodically or whatever, but it feels like what he's saying musically, you know?
Yeah.
He knows how to jump on top of that so well.
Right.
And then there's just kind of a fun fan question. Let's listen to that.
This venue used to be the Limelight, and at your concert here in 1992, you climbed all over the place. Climbed, C-L-I-M-E-D. Would you do it again? Yes.
All right, so would you do it again? Yes. I doubt he did. He's just like,
I don't think
so.
I don't think he did that night.
No.
I just love climbed. C-L-I-M-E-D.
Yeah, I know. I love that he could have easily like not called that person out like that.
Right. Yeah.
But he just fucking had to rib him. Like, motherfucker, you can't even spell climbed. I wonder if that's like the only reason he read that question. Is because, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because he just had the one word answer. Yes. Yes.
Oh, God.
He just wanted to give the guy shit.
All right, cool. So next up, let's listen to a little bit of...
Oh, my favorite song.
I knew.
The whole evening.
This is great because you and I have not discussed this yet. But, the original version was called Here's the State of Mississippi.
This is a song that's evolved a bit, and it was written by a guy called Phil Oakes, and he wrote it as a song about the civil rights movement in the '60s in the South, and it was titled "Here's to the State of Mississippi." And then in the early '70s, with Vietnam, he used the same song and rewrote it and revised it, and then it was called "Here's to the State of Richard Nixon." And on the last Vote for Change tour that we did, Tim Robbins was on board for that, and he revised it. And this is that latest revision of Tim's, and I've made a few alterations to update it of what's happened since November 2 years ago. But perhaps my daughter, who's little now, but when she grows up, maybe she'll have a version of her own. But I truly hope that she won't have to.
Here's to the judges of John Roberts, who wear the robe of honor in their phony legal form.
So Brad B, this is, if I know you well, then you're so sad that this isn't on a Pearl Jam record.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that you are not into the kind of like Woody Guthrie style, folky, Bob Dylan political song stuff.
My favorite genre of music is civil rights protest songs.
I always knew it. I pegged you as a protest man.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, I can get behind civil rights and protests all day, but just like,
I'm so sorry, I have to stop you. Just the way you worded that. Like, I mean, I can get behind civil rights when I know you, and it's like,
hey man, if you know one thing about me,
it's what?
It's that I love certain things.
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
Okay, well,
okay, inside joke. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Sorry, listeners.
We are not going there.
No. But I just thought it was funny the way you said that, whereas I'm like, no, I guess I could get behind civil rights.
Yeah, it's not the message; it's the messenger.
It's just the delivery system.
The delivery, yeah, just a dude, sitting there with a jangly old guitar, smoking a cigarette, and just I'm like, yeah, I'm good.
Brad's not a fan of traditional folk music.
No,
but I think it is a cool story. Obviously, I mean, yeah. I mean, Phil, this guy, this girl, I almost said girl. This guy, Phil Ochs, OCHS. It was originally, like you said, a song about the civil rights in the 60s, moved on to the 70s with Nixon, and then him and Tim Robbins did that revision that we heard. Now let me think about this. I've never had to talk about this kind of music before. You're right. It is not musically invigorating, but I love the history of this type of music, I guess, enough that it kind of... when I listen to it, I think it's great, but I'm probably like you in the sense that I'm not going to go, I want to hear Eddie and Tim Robbins' version of Here's the State of Mississippi and jam in my car to it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, I totally respect what those, singers and activists are trying to do, and
sure.
it's just, I mean, it's not simple.
It's not aesthetically pleasing for you, right?
Yeah, but the simplicity of just a dude with a guitar singing about, controversial stuff, I guess. Mm-hmm. And being in protest, I totally respect that.
Right, but is it so it's strictly about the content then, right? Because like, would you want to? And maybe you have. I've never asked you. Would you want to go to an Eddie solo show?
Yes, I would.
Even though that's just a dude and a guitar singing.
Yeah,
it's really more about the style and the. Not that you're against the content, but
yeah,
the way
I was gonna say don't put that on me. It's not the content. I like I said, I like that there's dudes out there doing that because I think
absolutely, we're on the same page with that.
Okay, good.
I don't think anyone's going to think that you're against it,
but Eddie's not doing 28 protest songs at his solo shows.
Right.
So I would go to that.
Gotcha.
I don't know if I'd go 9 times.
Sure. No, I get it.
But yeah, I would like to see him like fucking at the Ryman That would be
Dude,
incredible.
that would be so sick.
That would be really cool.
Some of the best shows I've ever seen in my life are at the Ryman.
Yeah.
And then getting to play the Ryman was like, I almost shit my pants.
You did? You did get to?
What? Play
did
the
you
Ryman?
say you did? Yeah.
Yeah. It was
that's cool.
Super weird and amazing.
Yeah, I bet. The Ryman's a really small, like, historic venue in Nashville for people that don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be a really cool setting to see him. I would love to do that. And I've got the, what is it called? Not Blood on the Water. Is it Blood on the Water? He's got it can't be Blood on the Water. He's got a solo concert that's put out on DVD that I have.
Oh, I don't know.
But it's something on the water. So I don't know what it's called.
Smoke on the Water?
Smoke, yeah, man.
Smoke on the water.
Eddie Vedder.
Whoa. That was amazing.
But anyway, yeah, I would go see him. But, I mean, it's because it's Eddie.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, I'm just not into folk music kind of thing.
Man. I'm going to make you a Joni Mitchell mix CD. You'll love it.
Yeah, okay.
God, I love her so much. All right, let's move on to another fan question.
From Maine. Yep. The question will explain his absence, I believe. Uh-oh. All right. How do you feel about having a contingency of fans who have different ideologies than all of you? Yeah, come. Actually, I think that we're aware that, as someone in a band who we're sharing music ultimately, I think you have to be very committed to your ideals. And I think that because you are risking, taking some people out of the equation and turning some people off. We have felt that it's what's been happening in U.S. history in the last decade is so important, and that we should all be part of trying to adjust the direction of history, that it's such an important time that we had to do it at all costs, So I respect everyone's opinion, actually, and if they feel a way different than us, then I respect that. We can only implore that they do their own kind of research and don't live life with blinders on. And if anything else, even if they don't agree, at least maybe we've taken part or created some kind of discussion.
All right, so to me, that kind of sums up all of the political content of this episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly.
How do you...
I think, I do want to say real quick, I think if people didn't understand, the question obviously was, how do you feel about people that have different ideologies from you? Eddie says, fuck them. That's his answer. But they cut out him saying the F word.
Sure.
So it's hard to understand, but that's why everyone was laughing.
Yeah.
But then he gives like the serious answer about respecting everyone's opinion, and I agree with that. That's kind of how I am, and I think the whole thing with me with politics, and I'm always like, oh, I'm not political and I hate politics, and I guess what I'm really saying is, like, I don't want to talk about politics because most people don't want to hear my views anyway, and I don't want to hear your views. You know what I mean? Unless you're... I sound like an asshole, don't I?
I don't want to hear your brand of bullshit.
Yeah, but you don't want to hear mine. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think not in an asshole kind of way, but like I'm probably not going to change anyone's mind if they feel totally different than I do. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, facts are not going to change people's minds most of the time, unfortunately.
I mean, I'd rather talk about like the Cubs or Metallica or Pearl Jam than get into some heavy discussion about really controversial subjects that we don't agree on anyway.
Right. But and I in some ways agree with you. Maybe I don't, but I totally respect and understand where you're coming from. But I think in the bigger picture, it's kind of, well, none of these things, we don't progress unless we have these conversations.
Yeah,
and
that's
more
true.
importantly, figure out how to have those conversations.
Yeah.
And I think it's as simple as what he just said, is just like, just be well informed.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. What were you going to say before?
I just hope I don't come off as an asshole, because I don't mean it that way.
No. I feel like maybe I'll, tell me if I'm misrepresenting you, but it's not that you don't have your own feelings and opinions and thoughts or whatever. It's just that it sounds like to me you're someone that has not had good experiences with entering into some of those conversations. Is that at all true?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
And that's like really fucking sad, because you're, especially now that I know you, I feel like I know you well, and I'm continuing to get to know you in certain ways, but you're very thoughtful. You aren't quick to just spout out some bullshit. Even if we were to disagree about something, I know that we could have a conversation about it. And you're exactly the type of person that, like, and when I say we, I don't mean aside, like just human beings, we're losing people like you, and in some cases people like me that aren't crazy on one side or the other, because we get burned so many times by being vulnerable and talking about like something that you know could be a hot topic issue, and then getting fucked over for having the courage to show that. You bring up a good point that I've never really thought of it that way, but like for the last over 20 years I've lived like in the South between Florida and Tennessee and Mississippi, so I'm definitely in the minority regarding religion and politics. So me too, man.
Kind of like get like bombarded if you're not in line with, you know, the religious people and the like Republican right wing people.
Well, so and what's sad is that, you know, the left is
there's crazy people on both sides.
Yeah, I think it's gone beyond that, though, to be honest with you. I think like the far left people are really fucking some shit up nowadays, and it's really sad to me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well,
and the problem I think is the extreme of either side is a very small percentage.
Yep.
And the rest of us, whichever side you're on, that those extremists like make you hate the other side more than you normally would. And that's kind of sad.
And I'm in one of those, like, to use that example that you just made, which is a great example. Like, I feel really, I'll say two things to what you've just said. One is that, I mean, I was literally talking about this to my therapist the other day. Sometimes I forget that, and I've lived here for so long, that I forget I'm used to the fact that I feel like an alien here in the South.
Yeah. Oh God, dude, that's me. I say that to myself every day.
And it makes so much sense why, not just in general, I feel more comfortable in bigger cities, but like specifically, I think it took me a while to realize why New York City specifically literally like I feel at home there. This isn't like it's such a cool city and there's so many things to do and blah 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 blah. It's like dude, I feel home when I'm there.
Yeah, and me too. Well, Chicago. That's how I feel.
Right for you, like Chicago,
up north
right?
When I go to Chicago, yeah.
And how that can totally mess with your mind. But oh damn it! Then the second thing you said, what was it? I loved it, and it was. I don't remember. I'm gonna hate myself later, but. Anyway, we can get off of our.
No, it's crazy to think about because I've been gone from Illinois for over 20 years, like 22 years. I still don't feel comfortable here. I don't ever feel like I have a place here.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, dude, not only did you come from Chicago to the South, you came from Chicago to like super small town South.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you live in Paris, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Like, that doesn't even compare to Birmingham.
Well, I was in Muscle Shoals for a while, too. Like, that's
super small town, though.
Yeah.
I mean, at least in Birmingham, I can find some solace in an echo chamber here because it does exist.
Right.
But
yeah, there's tons of like hipster douchebags you could hang out with.
Exactly. That was good. Woo.
No, but I mean, if I don't know. I see myself moving like to Nashville or right outside of Nashville, you know, sometime in the near future.
Yeah,
you know,
I get
or
that.
even Birmingham.
Hell yeah, come on down. We'd love to have you.
But
all right, well, let's move on to the
man.
end of the show.
For somebody that hates politics and politics talk, this has like been the politics hour.
I know, right? It's good though, man. I'm glad we're having the conversation, you know. And like I said, I love hearing your thoughts because I haven't heard anything that I don't disagree or that I disagree with yet. But I know that even if you did say something I didn't quite jam on, like I know where you're coming from as a human being.
Well, that's another part of it. Like I have a hard time just opening up to anybody.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
True.
It takes a long time for somebody to gain my trust enough where I can talk to somebody openly, which is weird with me and you because it was pretty much, you know, love at first sight.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm laughing, but it's true, you know.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. And look at us now. All right, so we really are.
Looks like we made it.
Go on.
That's
okay.
I don't know the rest of the words.
Well, fuck you then, Brad.
Do you?
I'm just kidding. No, we're moving on. So, last song of the night, Life Wasted.
The song Life Wasted, it's almost like a funeral song, but the song that you play in your head after you've left the funeral. You know, that you see the fragility of life and you see that eventually we're all going to be attending our own funerals. There's a certain power that you feel when you've lost a good friend or someone that you love, and it almost gives you a stronger motivation to appreciate, you know, each moment that we have.
Life Wasted. That was who did that sound like? Did that sound
Hootie.
like anyone else? Okay, Hootie. There it is. God, what a great callback, Brad. I teed that motherfucker up, and you were like, I see it. And I'm gonna knock it out of the park. Oh man. All right, so Eddie kind of referring to this as a funeral song, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I like that comparison a lot, or that kind of like insight to, I don't know where his head is with a song like that. And especially like, because it doesn't sound like that at all. I mean, it's like an up, like poppy, punky rock song, you know?
Yeah. I mean, lyrically, I love the song.
I do too.
You know, it's very motivational, you know?
Yeah. Well, I like too how, you know, in reference to him saying, what did he say, like a funeral song, that they also have the Life Wasted reprise,
right?
You know, like the other side of the coin for that song.
That's what it sounds like he's describing.
Yeah, totally. I wonder how he wrote it first, or how they wrote it first. You know?
Yeah.
I never thought about that before, or never thought to look it up before, but. And it, you know, allows us to end this this conversation on a up note too. Just talk about like the power in loss, or that loss gives you, and the motivation it gives you to actually appreciate the moment that you know, or moment to moment your life. You know, I don't know. That's something I try and remind myself of a lot. Maybe that's another reason why I like this song so much. But. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, man. Sorry.
Oh, Brad. You all right, bud?
Oh man, just rambling on over here.
You?
Yeah.
No.
No.
And then there's the. I don't know if we'll play this one or not, but I did want to at least mention the Jeff clip. Just kind of talking about, I don't know, all the shit they've gone through, they've put themselves through, other people have put them through, and the fact that they're still together, which still blows my mind.
I just like when he's like talking about how, you know, we had to work through a bunch of stuff to be able to tell each other we love each other.
Right.
Or something like that. And I'm like, oh.
It's like me and you, Brad.
I love this band.
I love these guys.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I mean, I don't have anything else.
I'll just mention that they did play 4 songs that didn't make it to air. Right. Unemployable, Sleight of Hand, Army Reserve, and Insignificance.
Oh, I love those songs so much.
I know.
Damn it.
Yeah, I know. It'd be cool if they put out, you know, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure they told stories about all those songs too.
Yeah.
You know, so I'd love to see the full. I wonder if there's a bootleg out there of it.
Yeah, it's funny. I haven't looked for like the full version of this, if it's out there. So
yeah,
if anyone's got it, let us know.
I wonder too if I should have looked this up, but I wonder if this was like just a fan club show or how people got tickets to this.
You would think it would be a fan club thing, right?
Yeah. Usually, you might know better than I do, but like when they film a TV show like this, like a concert, usually it's free, isn't it? Like tickets are free, but you.
It depends. I mean, like I'm trying to think. The first time
there was some, because I know that Fall Out Boy played a show for a TV show with some country band, and they played at Rocketown, and the tickets were like you just had to enter to try and win tickets. I didn't win, but I remember they were free, and I want to say I tried for something else that I didn't win, but it was for like a TV recording, and it was free. So I'm assuming this is too, because I know like you know, like Letterman and Conan O'Brien, like all those late night show tickets are free. You just have to like order them.
Right.
So
well,
I'm assuming something.
I'm sure it depends on the band and the situation, because I know like I did a House of Blues DVD I was playing for artists, and the whole thing was filmed and then put out on DVD, whatever. But that for the people that were there, they were just coming to see a show. You know, like they paid for tickets and whatever. It just happened to be that they were recording that show,
right?
Video and audio, and then it got put out. But, yeah, I don't know. Who knows? I would have paid.
Do you have it?
Oh yeah.
Do you have a video?
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna share it.
What? I want to see it. That's what I'm asking.
No.
Why?
No,
it's just you up performing?
Playing guitar for somebody, yeah.
Yeah. Come on.
And I actually got incredibly sick. I had not. This is the first time I've ever played with that artist. Was for the taping of the live DVD. I came down. While playing the show, I had 102-degree fever.
Oh my God.
I couldn't see straight. They had to put like makeup on me because I was so pale.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It was just a bad memory. And I remember having to, it wasn't a ton, but I had to come back and fix a couple spots after the fact because I was just so out of my mind. And on top of that, my in-ear pack broke halfway through the first song.
Of course. Yeah, man.
So
show business.
It was a fucking nightmare.
Was any of it like stage fright because the cameras? Or it's just being sick?
It was just sick. I'd never played with them before. I don't even know if I had a rehearsal.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It was just kind of like a perfect storm of bullshit. So
hell.
And I hate seeing myself, so yeah, I'm never gonna. I won't show it to you.
I'm gonna find it.
Yeah, you won't. You won't. Oh God, you might. Anyway, let's move on, please. Ugh. Well, that was a fun episode. I wasn't sure how that was gonna go, but I enjoyed it, man.
It was a lot of fun.
Hell yeah. All right, well, that's it for us this week. As usual, hit us up on the socials, patreon.com/Single Podcast Theory. That's Patreon if you'd like to support. Or you can email us, singlepodcasttheory@gmail.com. Say hi. That's it. Until next week, I'm Brad Lyons.
And I'm Brad Blazek saying, see you on the B-side.
Oh. Peace.
Later.
I died and you just I died and you watched. I died and you walked by and said no. I'm dead.
That was fine. Fuck yeah. Woo! And the rest of you guys.
She said, yeah, I got a little story for you. Oh, what you thought was your daddy was nothing but a fool. While you were sitting home alone at age 13, oh, your real father was dying. Sorry it didn't see him, but I'm glad we talked. Oh, you're still alive, she's there on the life of the beat. And is that the question? And if so, who answers? I'm still alive, I'm still alive, I'm still alive, you're still
We wrote that song when Jeff and I were still in Mother Love Bone, and Andy actually sang that song a few times. With it was called $1 Short at that time. We asked Matt Cameron to come in and play on it, so it's interesting, the sort of symmetry, the way it comes back around, because 12 years later, Matt Cameron is playing the song again with us.